Here who's going to tell us about something that she knows all about today. Today, we're going to talk about what she calls the reluctant celebrity syndrome. Apparently, it's something that I have picked up and hiding in the shadows. So, uh, let's just start by introducing and why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do normally?
Okay, so what I do normally is I actually work very closely with coaches who want to become speakers, who are speakers, or who are authors who want to get out there. So, coaches in, I don't know, it could be health and wellness, business growth, finance, empowerment, spirituality. So, any aspect of our life that if you're a coach, you're helping people with. And so my passion is really to hone in on what I call the unique influencer code. And that what makes you stand out from everybody else. Like, what's so unique about me? What's so unique about you, Shadow? You know, each one of us, we have this combination of gifts, right? And so once we figure out what that is, then it's like, woo, let's go out there, right? And then share it and yeah, so my main thing is to not only identify your unique influencer code, but get out there, you know, and get out there, right? You get out there and sharing it, and that's what I find. A lot of people have what I call the unique influencer code plus the reluctant celebrity syndrome together is this push pull on the inside. So it's kind of the overview of what I do and why I do it. But let's get to it. I know you have a bunch of questions about the reluctant celebrity syndrome.
Absolutely. Let's just start with basic overview. What is the reluctant celebrity syndrome, as you call it?
Well, you know, I coined this phrase, gosh, must be about 17 years ago now, right? And where it came from is we say we're going to do some things and we get excited about doing it. We may do all the work behind the scenes, get everything ready. When it comes to really going out there and being seen for our brilliance, we're like, no, no, no. We sabotage ourselves. And, it, nowadays that the imposter syndrome kind of comes up where we're self-sabotaging why we don't go out there full force. Maybe it could have something to do with limiting beliefs about ourselves, or it could be fear of success. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on internally with us, and so that's the reluctant celebrity. Say, yes, yes, I want to go out. I want to be known. I'm brilliant. I want to change lives. And like, oh, I have to do this first. Then I have to do that. And then I have to do that. We just keep piling stuff in front of us and we just somehow don't get to it. So that's the reluctant celebrity syndrome. And we all have it, by the way. We all
Absolutely.
have it. Yeah.
I definitely can recognize in the last few months getting lost in the details on things that don't actually matter, but they mattered to me for no reason, and I didn't understand really why at the time. You know, like I had to make sure that the background was perfect and the lighting's perfect, but I wasn't taking my own advice, which is just leap and grow your wings on the way down, I guess. You know, because really, what does it matter if one monitor is a quarter inch off or something silly like that? Because it's supposed to be the message that gets out that is the important part of the whole thing. And you also referred to the one that's just like it, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So is it what's the correlation between that and or the difference between that and the reluctant celebrity syndrome?
Gosh, well, I'm not an imposter syndrome expert, but I've been in communication with enough experts to know. But the imposter syndrome shows up in many ways with us, within us. There are so many reasons that it shows up. We feel less than, or there's a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of psychological stuff. And when I came up with the reluctant celebrity syndrome, it was just because people that I was working with were not willing to get on camera. Now, I have to say, when we were really diving deep into this, we were training people to be interviewed on network television. There was no web TV in those days. And, a lot of people, it's a pretty big deal to be interviewed on network TV, like ABC, NBC, and all those. When you think about it, it's like, whoa, millions of people are going to watch me. So I could see the hesitation, like, oh, I want to look good. And we come up with excuses. So since then, many years have passed, and the imposter syndrome, I mean, we all have that too, one way or another. It comes up, right? Well, I don't know if we all have imposter syndrome, but I know we all have reluctant celebrity syndrome, because what happens is there are different levels to it. So we may it may show up in our lives when we just want to get on Zoom. They're like, "Oh, I'm feeling comfortable here." Then it's like, "Well, now we're going to do web TV. Ooh, wait a minute, I have to get ready for that." Then it's like, "Oh, you're going to be on network TV. Ooh, I have to get ready for that." That's kind of how it shows up on different levels. The way we show up with imposter syndrome.
I definitely saw a lot of that in Clubhouse with the nervousness of the people speaking, but at the same time, I also saw a dramatic decrease in it because of the lack of visuals. Since it's an all audio platform, being able to see people literally cut loose, and you're running around in your underwear talking on Clubhouse, because they didn't have to care. Nobody could see them. And so it allowed them to open up a lot more than you saw in a lot of other ways on video and everything. They didn't have to worry, oh my gosh, is that dirty laundry in the background and things like that.
Yeah.
But you still saw those people that were so nervous to speak in front of a crowd, even though nobody could see them. Nobody was even around them. And it was heartwarming to see these people that would stand up and just be like, I don't speak. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm stumbling over myself. And they don't realize that just makes people love them even more because they're being who they are. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point you brought up. It's so endearing to see somebody really stepping up, conquering their fear, stepping up, being courageous. We love it because it empowers us at the same time. And so, having said that, I have seen the same people, after they show up one, two, or three times, they're a lot more comfortable, and they're dynamic, and they become great speakers. So you just, once we get used to something, once we get comfortable, and that's what I was talking about, the different levels. You put that same person on camera, they're going to go through the whole thing again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of my favorite Clubhouse stories I ever saw was there was a guy who I saw in the audience, and his bio, very first line is, "Do not call on me. I'm only here to listen. I will not speak. I will not come to the stage." And I'm like, oh, I'm getting you up here. I'm going to lure you up to this stage. And I basically went through his entire profile, looked at who he was, and directed my conversation into who he was as a person. And not only did he get up and speak, he spoke amazingly, and the whole room just I call it when a room breaks into an emotional state.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, that guy is on the biggest stages now with thousands of people in the room. And I'm like, see, it just takes a little guts sometimes to break through that reluctant celebrity syndrome, to see that it's not really much to fear.
Yeah, Shadow, you brought up something really important. Sometimes all it takes is somebody else to say, "I see you, and you're great. I like what you're saying. I love what I'm hearing," and we're connecting emotionally. And so our imperfections are really endearing. So again, having said that, it's it can be really disempowering sometimes just to be forced to get out there when we're scared. It can be really emotionally challenging. So there, I'm going to give a few tips for people to say, okay, well, maybe I will. Um, so one of the first ones that always comes up, especially with women, right? To get on camera, they're like, I need to go lose some weight. Especially what men do too, but for whatever reason, women like I need to go lose some weight, or it's like, oh, they I heard the camera puts on 10 pounds, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I don't know, but it all depends on how you angle the camera. But let's not get into that. So I'm like, okay, now let's make sense out of this. When was the last time somebody was sharing something really powerful with you, and you're like, stop, go home, lose 20 pounds, come back, I'll listen to you. They're like, oh, we just get so, my hair keeps bothering. We just get, we get so into ourselves, we forget, like, it's okay. People aren't really worried about how much I weigh. They're more worried about me and what I'm saying, right? And there's the other thing that you brought up too, the maybe you said the laundry in the background. Well, you know what, virtual backdrops really work beautifully. I can't tell you how many times I've told people to, you know what, get your studio, get your office, get your living room, whatever it is, get it perfect, take a picture, and then use it as your virtual backdrop. So it's always neat, it's always clean. So there are some hacks that we can do, to feel more comfortable. I mean, we do care about how we look. Then make an effort. And the cool thing about it is that there are a lot of filters now that can make us look, you know, more comfortable.
Cheater, cheater.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I haven't figured out how to use them yet, but here's the other part. There's always buts here. You can do some pretty cool things with lighting, right? You can do some pretty cool things if you have the proper light in the right angle. There's a lot you can do. We're not going to go into lighting demonstrations here, but know that I know how to light myself up. So yeah, okay,
And I will
and you
add,
can learn it too.
I will add to that filter part. I was on TikTok playing around the other day and on TikTok Live, and they have like three filters for appearance, for skin, eyes, and something else. And when I turn them all the way up, I make a very beautiful Disney princess. So, I was flawless. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just need a little tiara and I'm set to go.
Disney princess. Well, I
Oh, my
haven't
eyes
figured
were like
out.
this big, and yeah, I was a Disney princess for sure. Like I will totally snapshot that and send it to you. Promise.
Oh yeah, please do. It was funny. Like the first time I saw one of those, there was this one. She said, "I don't really look like this," and then she went and took the filter off. I'm, no, you don't. And that's okay. you know. But here's the thing. Honestly, if the filter makes you feel better, then do it. And also remember that you're beautiful the way you are, regardless of how you look. There's always somebody who looks similar to you that you can actually empower and encourage because you're showing up in who you are. And that's the most beautiful that we can be when we're speaking from our heart, when we're connecting, when we want to make a difference. But if it's something is going to make you feel better, it's going to empower you to get up and get comfortable, then do it. Then do it. Everything in moderation. We put on makeup. I got on mascara. I got on lipstick. Right. So yeah. So you
I,
guys, yeah. Go ahead.
I definitely will say if you go scroll through the TikTok lives, there are some really inventive ways to get on camera without being on camera. There is an obscene amount of live puppets on TikTok. I'm just saying, like puppets. There's actually puppets. There's every horror dressed person ever. Michael Myers, Jason, all of them are live on TikTok, but they're still showing up. I mean, like, I got to give them at least that for sure. And it's, I mean, if that's the kind of person you want to be, you can be any superhero you want and still be able to show up the way you want.
Yeah, you can. And you know what? Here's the thing. When we first opened up, we talked about the unique influencer code. Now, that's where the power is. What the camera sees and how you show up, it's one thing. But for you to really get into who you are and into your power place, if you will, it's that's when you start looking into what's so unique about you. When we're doing a unique influencer code, which actually Shadow and I are going to be doing his, and wait until he comes out with that one and shares with you what his unique influencer code is. Yeah, so stay tuned, right? You guys stay tuned for that. But here's what we're going to be doing. Be looking at work experiences. You want to take a look at your life's work, everything from babysitting and mowing lawn days all the way up to here, right? What are some of the things you've done? That's all knowledge. Like I don't know anything about lawns, and maybe you do. You can tell me about crabgrass, right? Whatever. But everything we've done, it actually supports us. And so, even if you haven't been in the industry, if it's something you're passionate about, if it's something you've learned about, that's working knowledge of an industry. So you can always use examples. You can always bring in the knowledge that you have into what you're doing. Now, also, there are the life experiences, our successes, and our learning opportunities. Life gives us a lot of learning opportunities. Believe me, I've had so many of them. I should be writing 10 books with them, right? But the secret sauce, though, is your natural gifts, and these are the things that you're born with. These are the things that you naturally do. We're not going to go into the training, but actually, we probably will be doing another episode on that. Just identifying your natural gifts, it's huge because most of us, we do it so naturally we don't even realize it's a gift. And until somebody just says, or maybe 100 people say, how do you do that? You're really great at it. We don't really pay attention because it comes so naturally to us. Well, those are the gifts that we want to bring into everything we do because nobody else on the planet or in history of human creation, if you will, has the same combination of work experiences, life experiences, and natural gifts. And so there's nobody to compare to. That has a lot to do with overcoming the reluctant celebrity syndrome. So we're going to be talking about that in the upcoming episodes. But yeah, so just who you are is really important, and focus on that.
Here's a perfect example. I met this guy last night who goes by work in progress. Okay. He's a very large man, and his whole TikTok is just him putting in effort working out. That's all it is. He has 445,000 followers, and his top video has 69 million views
Wow.
because he's showing up as him. That's all it is. He's taking his normal life struggle and he just says, hey, this is me. This is where I'm at. I'm trying. And obviously, millions of people want to see somebody who's just themselves. So there's nothing to say that you're not exactly the same on that.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Shadow. Now here's the thing. How many of us have not struggled with weight? I don't know anybody who hasn't, whether it's too skinny or too fat. I know in my 20s I was too skinny. Now I'm too fat, according to me, right? According to somebody else, I never had a problem. but it's what we think inside. So when somebody's saying, I don't like the way I look physically, or I don't feel good and I want to feel better, so I'm going to take better care of my health, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like I started looking into intermittent fasting because I'm like, where's my energy? And then I found out you have to fast for 16, 18 hours. I'm like, no, I'm too cranky to be fasting for 18 hours. I got to find another way. So just sharing these things, every time I share with somebody that I get too cranky when I'm hungry, they're like, oh my God, me too. So what Shadow was saying, just the guy that's struggling with his weight, we all relate to it. And so, are you struggling with weight? Are you struggling with relationships? Feeling less than, maybe a broken heart. Maybe you broke somebody's heart. And I know that I've done something here and in every relationship I've had, whether it's with my daughter or significant others or uh, my parents or sisters, whatever. There there are always things that are with us. We can share about those. And the other one is money. We all have money issues, whether it's making it, whether it's managing it, whether whatever. We all have money issues here and there. And so what is yours? Money, health, relationships. Oh, spirituality. How are you developing your spiritual aspect of your fabulous self? Struggles there? Do you feel disconnected to God, source, universe? What do you call, your universe, source, and higher power? What is it? That's a topic in itself. The confusion comes in. So there's like, there, as long as you're yourself, people love it. And yeah. Anyway, so that's the
That's the other
shadow,
one,
a lot of
time.
what is that?
The other one is time, that everyone relates to. You could literally develop an entire platform just on all the different struggles throughout your day of different things. And all your comments will be me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. Like it's the relatability of just having a real person with real problems. The world's really not interested in the fake anymore. Like nobody really, it's been everywhere for so long that it's played out. But the
Yeah.
people who show up as themselves, those are the ones who are winning. And I think it's beautiful because those are the people that show up and they're just like, I'm me. At the end of the day, I'm overweight or I'm underweight or I'm, struggling with this, but I'm here and I'm trying. And oh my gosh, this, silly thing happened to me today. Who else? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, me too, because it's that relatability that, you can be just like the next person and be able to connect on that level with that person for sure.
Yeah. So Shadow, you're actually a person who juggles a lot. Okay, you have a lot going on, and whether it's your tattoo business, whether it's you're helping organizations, or you help. I mean, you're always you got so many things. So how do you manage? And I, no, seriously though, I will tell you that. Years ago, I was always like running late until I moved to LA, and I missed a speaking engagement because I was stuck in traffic because I didn't give myself enough time for where I was going. That cured me of being late. Sometimes it just takes one thing, but I was constantly rushing to get to places until I was like, man, that was really bad. I let down a room full of people because I could not get in the car soon enough to get there. But so, how do you juggle? I said, no, I know we can't manage time. We can only manage ourselves. But how
Yeah.
do you manage your day?
Well, that assumes I actually manage my day. My day ends up managing me half the time. No, kind of like what you said with being late for the engagement. I tend to learn things the hard way, and usually when you're like, I'm not doing that again. Like for real, if you look at my truck, there is tools for about every conceivable situation imaginable. And people go, oh my gosh, how do you always have the perfect thing with you? Because I've been the guy without the perfect thing with me enough times that I said, never again, never again, never again, never again. Never. And I developed a set based upon that. Basically, I'm willing to sacrifice my own comfort sometimes to be able to achieve my goals, and that's hard. It's hard to do sometimes when it's like, I really would like to just sit down and rest for the minute, or I'd really like to, I wish I could just go do this, and it's like, no, I can't. I don't get to do this. I have obligations and things like that, and you do your best to anticipate Mr. Murphy of Murphy's Law, because Murphy's Law does tend to lurk around the corner. If you have a laser perfect schedule that is completely unflexible, he will set up shop right in the middle of it, and that's where he's going to live at all times every day. I mean, you'll be going to work and get smacked in the head with a seagull. It's you're going to the ER, and now everything is dominoing all the way down the line. So you have to be able to try to compensate for the things that you don't see coming. And knowing your life, you know how well you have to compensate for things you didn't think of or things you didn't anticipate. I mean, heck, how many times have you jumped in the car and you're like, all right, I'm going to be perfectly on time. And then you're like, oh, do I have enough gas in the car to actually get there? It's like, do I risk it or do I stop and get gas? Because you have cut it too close to begin with and forgot to get gas the night before. So it's little things like that that you have to be mindful of, definitely, to try to make sure to be on top of, and make sure to pay attention to your schedule, really. And
So, so does having everything, all the different tools and things for different scenarios in your car, does it help you with the reluctant celebrity syndrome, if you will? Does it make it less? Do you feel more prepared? What does that do internally?
it definitely makes me feel prepared for whatever situation comes around the corner. If I'm out and about, I mean, heck, I've even got down to life vests in my freaking truck.
Life is okay. Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
wait. You're going swimming in a river or in the
I
ocean
took
or
the
what?
truck. I remember I was in that flood. Those life vests didn't leave the back of my truck just in case, like, because we were heading towards flood season. So,
Oh my God. Okay, that's being prepared. Were you a Boy Scout?
yes, actually, it was. Ironically,
See?
no, but it's I was always taught to fix things, and like have the ability to not always lean on others, but just to be able to get things done. And so I've learned mechanics and everything like that, and so I carry at least everything I need. Well, when you work on mechanics enough, you run into repetitive situations where it's like, I spent 3 hours doing something that would have taken me 30 seconds if I'd have had the right tool. That tool is going in the truck now. Like,
Well, I handle it a different way, So it's
tow ropes. Are you kidding me? Like, I've got 2 tow ropes in there because once you've towed with bungee cords, you only have to do that once. I promise you.
okay. Yeah, no, man. So you guys, you see, the reluctant celebrity syndrome is just about you internally. What's going to make you feel good? What's going to make you feel prepared to handle the situation? And the key to all of us is we're never going to be perfect, and expect things are going to happen, and just learn to laugh at yourself, at your imperfections, and know that our imperfections are endearing. People like to see somebody who's doing the same things they are. Like, I don't know what it feels like to ever have every tool in my car in anticipation, but I bet you there are some guys out there who know exactly what Shadow is talking about, right? So and I know
And
there are, yeah. And if you're a speaker and you've ever been late for an event, or if you missed a flight. I mean, one time I was yeah, I was flying to Atlanta. That's where I was speaking in Atlanta. My clothes didn't make it with me. My baggage didn't make it. So I had what I was wearing. The next morning, I had to go to a store. The closest store was a discount store that I ran to put something together. But I showed up, So I showed up, and he just fixed whatever it is, and know that it's going to be okay. So,
it's
yeah.
funny you say traveling because I am just as prepared with traveling. Like, I have everything in the perfect pocket. I'm dressed comfortably. I know not to wear like nice clothes because they always have buttons. They get set off and delay, and yeah.
Oh,
Carry
wait! I will tell you this. That experience got me. I wear nice clothes when I'm traveling because if my baggage doesn't make it, I can wear the same clothes on stage. So
I
you
bring them
see,
in my carry on.
so, anyway, listen. I think we're supposed to be wrapping this up, right? We've been at it for a while here, but
Absolutely.
it's
So
fun as always. I'll tell you.
absolutely. And I appreciate you so much for coming and telling us all about the reluctant celebrity syndrome today. And it's always a pleasure having you on here. And I'm sure some people got some good information and at least got a few chuckles out of us today. So, I mean, we show up and do what we can. And I know we both have reluctant celebrity syndrome like everybody does, but you can make it a lot better and you can make it a lot easier on yourself. And we appreciate what you do and everything you've been talking about all day today for sure. So thank you for coming.
Yeah. So that we have fun, and
Yeah.
that's the key, right? You have fun. You show up, you go through it, and just laugh. And if you can laugh at yourself, then everything else falls into place, and the reluctant celebrity syndrome is diminished. So here we go. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Sounds good, everybody. All right, guys. Y'all have a blessed day, and we will see you next week.